hits the entertainment bullseye every week with her hard riding. Straight shooting. And suspense.
Well, this is the last place on our list.
If you ask me, it's a waste of time stuffing. Matt Peters won't contribute to anything. He's that unneighborly.
Jan's the same way. Studies his head off at school, but stays clear of the other kids, like they're poison.
Maybe they just don't know how to be friendly. Some people are like that, you know. You're wearing that last cookie you just ate, Tagg. Oh, Mrs. Peters, I'm Annie Oakley. And this is Deputy Sheriff Lofty Craig and my brother, Tagg.
We've met before, Miss Peters, but maybe you don't remember.
I remember.
Well, we're collecting money to build a spur track to the railroad at Danville.
The railroad said if we built the track, they'd run their cattle and freight cars over it.
Everybody's chipped in. We thought maybe you and Mr. Peters would like to contribute.
Now, you can see what an advantage it would be to all the ranchers.
Not to us. And there's no use putting money in something you can't use. If my husband were here, he'd say the same thing. Well, if you'll excuse me, I've got a pan of bread in the oven.
What's the matter? We got the measles or something that they won't invite us in?
From all I hear, Tagg, they won't invite anybody in.
If you ask me, Matt Peters acts like a man who's trying to hide something.
Tagg, you stay here. Have you all gone crazy? We're trying to help you, Mr. Peters.
I'm sorry. When you came racing up, I thought you were one in the gang. Last week, they burned my barn. The week before, they ran off a bunch of my cattle. This time, they were making a pass of my horses.
Who are they?
I don't know. This is the first time I've even got within shooting distance of them.
It sounds like somebody's trying to run you out.
Yeah. But why?
I don't know that either.
Matt, are you all right?
Sure, I'm fine.
What happened?
Oh, I just had a run-in with a couple of rustlers. They ran off when Miss Annie and Craig showed up. They wouldn't have even tried if you'd been here, would they?
Nah.
Well, we know one thing about these men. One of them wore a Texas-style hat, and the other one either bought or stole his horse from an Indian.
Indian?
He was only riding with a hackamore, and the brand had been blotted.
Well, I'll inquire around and see if any strangers have drifted into town. Now, if I could get my hands on those two birds, we might find out what this is all about.
If Annie Oakley is sticking her nose into this, we'll have to be twice as careful.
You can say that again. I had to steal another horse on account of her.
When a gal can shoot and hit a dime at 50 paces, I don't want any part of it.
You know, boys, this is ruining my digestion. Bless that Peters, I offered to buy his ranch fair and square, and he turned me down. Said he was tired of moving and starting all over again. Of course, I don't like to go against the law, you understand. But that stubborn old fool is forcing me into it. Get out. Get out, get out. Quick, 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 get out. And don't come here again until you hear from me. Why, Annie, and bless my soul if it isn't Tagg. Come in, come in, come in.
You're busy, Mayor.
Busy? Why, my dear Annie, I'm never too busy to see you. Sit down, sit down.
We thought we heard you talking to somebody.
Huh? Oh, that? Oh, yes. You see, I'm going to make a speech, and I was just rehearsing it. Now, what can I do for you?
Well, here's the money that we collected to put on the spur track. There are a lot of checks and promissory notes, and we'd like for you to take complete charge of it.
Bless my soul. My dear Annie, you overwhelm me. To be chosen custodian of such a worthy fund is indeed an honor. Come in.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll come back later.
We were just leaving. Come along, Tagg.
Yeah, well, goodbye, Annie. Goodbye, Tagg. Come in again sometime. Anytime. It's always a pleasure. A real pleasure.
Jan! Hey, Jan! Look, if your dad's in any kind of trouble, me, Annie, and Lofty like to help. Who says we're in trouble? Well, what else you want to call having your barn burned and your cattle rustled? That's our business, and you keep your nose out of it. I wasn't sticking my nose into it. You were, too. And when we want help, we'll ask for it. My gosh, you're as stubborn as your dad. Don't you say anything about my father. Ugh. Try it again, I dare you. Stubborn old mule. There's nothing here.
I wish Bill Jennings had taken a better look at those two men he saw riding out of town. Yeah, but he thought they were just a couple of cowhands. Laramie? Why are you sending a telegram to Laramie?
Well, a hat one of them wore, and the boots are the kind they wear in that part of Texas. And that Indian pony bore the brand of the Tonkawas. I just thought there might be a report made on them.
You know, Annie, there are times when I think you ought to be sheriff around here.
Who ever heard of a woman sheriff?
Why, Mayor, what's wrong? You look like the world's come to an end.
Annie, Lofty, I don't know how to tell you this. You know the money you gave me for the spur track? Well, it's gone.
Gone?
You mean somebody swiped it?
I don't know. I just can't find it, that's all. The last time I saw it was when Matt Peters was in my office.
Matt Peters?
Yes. He asked me to tell Mr. Hill at the Danville Bank that he couldn't meet his payment on the mortgage. And then suddenly I was called out of the office. And when I came back, he changed his story. He said he'd send the money on in a few days. Now, I'm not accusing anyone, understand? Only it was right after that that I found the money missing from the drawer of my desk.
I can't believe that Mr. Peters would take it. The money must be mislaid or something.
You better take another look, Mayor. And don't mention anything about this to anybody, or we'll have a riot in our hands.
Oh, no, I won't.
Peters couldn't have taken that money. He didn't even know the mayor had it.
Oh, yes, he did. And he just gave him the money when Mr. Peters walked in. And when we left, the money was lying right there on the desk.
What?
Tagg.
Oh, I said it was laying on the desk.
Now, Lofty, don't go jumping to conclusions. Remember that in this country, a man is innocent until he's proved guilty.
With you around, how could I forget? Just the same, I think I'll ride out and have a little talk with Matt.
Take this to the telegraph office, Tagg.
Well, you better come with me, Annie. In case there is any trouble, Mrs. Peters might need you.
Oh, remember, Lofty, we've only got the mayor's word for it.
I know.
So you're riding up. Is there anything I can do for you?
Well, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you some questions.
Sure. What kind of questions?
Mr. Peters, did you tell the mayor that you'd make a payment on your mortgage in a few days?
Why, no.
We couldn't. We haven't any...
What my wife means to say is we can't make that payment. That is, not unless we get back our stolen cattle. But I don't quite see how that concerns you.
Well, the money that we collected for the spur tract, well, it's missing.
The mayor seems to think that you were the last one to see it.
The mayor?
Surely you don't suspect. Matt, he didn't take it.
Well, in that case, you don't mind if we look around?
Just a minute. You figuring on arresting me?
I know.
Then I'll thank you to get off my property.
Oh, now, look here,
This is a frame-up, and you can tell Warner I'm not taking it lying down.
Now, Mr. Peters, you know that drawing a gun on the law isn't the right thing to do. Come on, Lofty. I'm sorry, Mrs. Peters.
Lofty, wait.
Where do you think you're going?
To make out a warrant. If necessary, blast my way into that house.
Well, for a lawman to shoot his way in without evidence isn't the right thing to do either.
He's hiding something, I tell you. If he isn't guilty, why wouldn't he let us search his house?
I don't know, Lofty, but somehow I just don't think he took the money.
That means the mayor's lying.
Somebody's lying. Also, somebody's got it in from Matt.
What's that? A wire from Laramie.
Well, description answers those of Walt Newman and Mike Edwards. Wanted for cattle rustling and armed robbery.
Well, Newman and Mike Edwards. No wonder we didn't recognize them. These prison pictures make them look like entirely different men. After this, remind me to quit arguing with your hunches.
Well, my hunch didn't tell me where to find them. Unless we can backtrack on those stolen cattle.
You better doctor up the brain on that horse, Mike. The owner could spot it a mile off.
Well, if it ain't his honor, the mayor.
Whoa! I brought you some grub.
Good. Is the law put Matt Peters in jail yet?
No, if he were, I'd have the ranch by now.
When are you going to split that railroad money you copped?
Split it. I'll have you know that money was given to me as a sacred trust, and I intend to return every penny of it. You see, I've just mislaid it until I forced Peters to sell. Hear you talk, you think I was a crook.
You sure look like one of Matt Peters.
That's different. That's a personal matter. It has nothing to do with my position as mayor.
3 cheers for his honor.
Don't worry, you'll get all that's coming to you. But not until you've earned it.
We were just getting ready to rustle Peters' horses.
Yeah, hiding out on his ranch makes it real handy.
Well, hurry it up. We haven't got much time.
It was Walt Newman and Mike Edwards, all right. Benson says a fellow wearing a Texas-style hat and a man riding with a hackamore sold him a bunch of cattle.
Did Mr. Benson see which way they were headed?
Yeah, he said they headed back the way they came.
This thing's crowded my pocket. You can have it if you want to. Gee, where'd you get it, Jan? Up on Thunder Hill. Go ahead, take it if you're gonna. Gee, thanks, Jan. That's okay. I didn't want it anyway. There's a lot of old Indian stuff on that hill. You can go scout around if you want to. Gee, would it be all right? Why not? It's on our ranch. If you want to, we can go up there and scout around and maybe play Indian. I'll be Geronimo, and I've captured your horse. And I'll be Cochise, and I've captured yours.
You think we're following the right tracks, Annie? This trail leads to Thunder Hill.
That's a better place to hide than those Indian caves.
Could be. Those Ranahans have plenty of nerve hiding out in Peters' ranch.
Cochise. Okay, Chief Geronimo. Meet you on Thunder Hill.
Is that the Peters kid? Sure looks like his horse. This could be the break we've been waiting for. Let's go.
Hey, what's a big idea? I go, will you?
Now what do we do with him? Take him into his honor. Maybe he can make a little trade with Peters. The kid for the ranch.
Help! Help!
Those Ranahans.
They've got Tagg.
Run him, Eddie!
Tagg. Oh. Take him into town and lock him up, Lofty. We won't be long.
Right.
I tell you, Annie, they thought I was Jan.
Tagg, are you sure they said they were taking Jan to see the mayor?
Sure, I'm sure. They called him his honor, and they say they'd trade Jan for Mr. Peters' ranch.
Tagg, you go find Jan and his father while I get Mrs. Peters. Then we'll all go back to town and have a talk with the mayor. Mrs. Peters? Mrs. Peters? Mrs. Peters?
Well, now you know why we haven't invited people in. We haven't chairs for them to sit on. Matt was sick almost a year before we came out here, and it took our last cent to make a down payment on the ranch.
Oh, please, Mrs. Peters.
We were just getting back on our feet when we lost our cattle in the barn. But we still had our pride. That was all we did have until you walked in. Now we haven't even that. Go on. Tell everyone how bad off we are. But don't you dare pity us. I couldn't stand being pitied.
Who's pitying you? Do you want to know what I think? I think you and your husband are the most selfish people I've ever met.
Selfish?
Yes, selfish. Why, helping others is the only real pleasure that people get out of life. And you won't even give them a chance.
The person has to have some pride.
I know how you feel. Why, all of the people in this county have been up against it at one time or another, but we've helped each other out. We don't call it helping. It's just being neighborly.
I didn't know. We fought it for so long, alone. I guess I thought it would always be that way.
Mrs. Peters, can you think of any reason why Mayor Warner would want this ranch?
No. Matt says there's no oil or minerals on it, only some old Indian caves and a few relics.
Like this oil?
Yes, Jan found it.
Hey! We've got to get back to town. Jan says his father's gone gunning for the mayor.
Oh, no. I'll try and stop him. Tagg, you and Jan stay here with Mrs. Peters.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends, It was not my intention to again run for public office. But when overwhelming demand insists for the public good, I am not the one to fail you. What in blazes?
That deputy sheriff's got Walt. He's bringing him to town.
We gotta get to him before he can talk. Oh, my gun. I forgot my gun.
It's a nice frame-up you tried to hang on me, Warner.
Now, wait a minute. I didn't say you took the money. It's all a mistake. I can explain everything. I found it, and I've got it right here in the drawer. Now, take your gun out and drop it to the floor. Come on. Now, back out that door.
Looks like I got here just in time.
I give up. I give up.
Matt's in the mayor's office. Give him a hand. Come on. The mayor's just remembered where he put that money, didn't you, Mayor?
It seems to me I do remember. Yes, I think I put. Oh, yes. Here it is.
The Carter sent this over, Mrs. Peters, and look what the Benson sent.
I don't know what to say. Put the couch right over here, man.
All right. Now you can really sit down and take a rest, Martha.
How are we ever going to repay all this kindness?
Well, you don't have to worry about that, Mrs. Peters.
In fact, your troubles are over. I just finished talking to the director of Indian Affairs in Washington. He says that the government wants to buy Thunder Hill.
Thunder Hill?
Well, whatever for?
Well, that's where the ancient Kivas are. And the Indians are threatening an uprising unless the hill is included in the reservation.
So that's why the mayor was so anxious to get a hold of this ranch.
That's it. And he knew that the government was willing to pay plenty for it.
Well, in that case, we can give some of the money to help build that new spur track.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't get it. What's a kiva?
Well, Jan, Kivas are both a council room and a church. And they mean just as much to the Indians as our churches mean to us.
Gosh, I better take this back. This, too. Mr. Benson's wagon just broke an axle. It's down the road.
Tell him I'll be out to help him. And Martha, set another place on the table. I'm going to ask him back for dinner.